this is obviously too early to call in Pennsylvania, as we will be watching that one really until the bitter end.
So former President Trump will win the state of Florida, putting him 30 electoral votes closer to the White House. Too early to call a winner in New Hampshire, where Vice President Harris has an edge.
In Maine, the Vision Desk says that it's too early to call the statewide race. Maine gives 2 electoral votes to the winner of the state and 1 vote to the presidential winner in each of their congressional districts. Harris will win the 1st district, the rural 2nd district. Too early to call in the state of Maine.
In the Southeast, project that Trump will win Tennessee, a longtime Republican stronghold. Not a really surprise there. Further south, the former president will again win Alabama. Big numbers there.
And the former president will win neighboring Mississippi. Trump will cruise to victory in Oklahoma as well, where Democrats haven't won a single county since 2000.
And Missouri will also deliver a win for the former president. Vice President Harris will also take some big victories this hour. The Fox News Decision Desk can project that the vice president will win Illinois, adding 19 electoral votes to her tally.
She will also win New Jersey, another reliably Democratic state. Some people had thought New Jersey might be a little bit tight, but we're already ready to call New Jersey in my home state. Exactly. Voters in Massachusetts will deliver a clear victory to Harris as well, so no mystery in those states.
Staying in the Northeast, Fox News can project that the vice president will win Connecticut. She will also win Maryland, that state worth 10 electoral votes. There's an interesting Senate race there.
Yeah, Harris will also take Rhode Island, another Democratic stronghold, and she has a lead in Delaware, President Biden's home state, of course, but it is too early to call in Delaware at this point.
The vice president will win the District of Columbia, which has never voted for a Republican, and it continues not. If you look at the Electoral College and the race to 270, it obviously changes with all of these numbers. It is in the corner of your screen, 105 to Harris 72. And there you see it full screen. As we start to fill in this map, little by little, we're going to get closer to 270. Remember, there's some big states, including California, all the way out in the west, that'll adjust this number for the vice president. We're back with our panel. Jessica, Jesse, and Kellyanne, we added you. Jesse, thoughts?
Are we sure about New Jersey? Oh, man, I voted next to a guy this morning wearing a garbage bag. So I thought the state was a lock. I guess I was wrong about that. I also just heard from a person who was not going to vote, and then his girlfriend called him and said, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, we're breaking up. So he just drove 2 hours to the polling station and waited 2 hours in line. So I still don't understand people. And I'm not going to give you the county by county because I don't have that in my wheelhouse. But I will say I was just watching something interesting in Georgia, where she's not performing as well with black voters as Joe Biden. And Donald Trump has flipped the script with indies. He's up 11 with independents, whereas Biden had beaten him by 9 with independents. So those are just interesting things to look at. Other than that, if you look at these exit polling or the analysis, you think this would be a runaway Donald Trump victory. I don't understand if only 13% of Americans feel they're getting ahead financially, that Kamala Harris is even competitive. And bravo to the Democrat machine to make this race competitive, because she came out of nowhere. No one knows who she is. She didn't run a very specific campaign, and she is making it, they are making it a very competitive race. I mean, we haven't called anything surprising except for New Jersey.
You were surprised.
I was.
Jesse Tarlow, welcome. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Your thoughts so far on the evening?
Not surprised by New Jersey, and I'm sorry for you. You had been bragging about that one for months to me.
Okay. I was wrong once.
One time. It's been interesting to see, obviously, what's going on in the suburbs. If this is a harbinger of a good night for Kamala Harris, that's where it's going to happen. Obviously, you need the urban turnout to be huge, and I think Philadelphia was a big story this day, already in the first hour of Election Day polling, that they were smashing records, and we'll see where that all turns up. But what I'm really focused on is seeing, once all the exits are out, what ended up being the 1, 2, and 3 most important issues. Because in Ann Selzer's final poll of Iowa, she had preserving democracy as number 1. That also showed up in the Marist polling. Yep. And if it is preserving democracy, then that bodes very well for Kamala Harris's evening. And if it goes preserving democracy, the economy, and then abortion, that's definitely a good night, especially to your point, Brett, from a few minutes, close the gap with Donald Trump in terms of who's best to handle the economy and is leading on protecting the middle class and cares about people like me.
Harold, can we talk a second about Florida? You know, it wasn't close. We just called it for the former president's a big electoral vote haul. But if you think about it, you know, in elections past, Florida was a swing state.
Yep.
2022, Ron DeSantis changes that and makes a red state. And even in Miami-Dade County, the Republican is taking home a vote, including Latino vote, which could bode something else beyond Florida.
DeSantis will probably be a big part of that story. It's important to note that they also had an abortion initiative on the ballot there in Florida, and it looks like it's going to win the right to an abortion initiative, 57-43, almost like the same numbers that Trump won with, maybe a little bit better. So people split the ticket there, those that were going out, and indeed, perhaps some Republicans voted for that. But you got a strong governor like you have in Florida. You have one in North Carolina. She's going to need that governor, Kamala Harris, to help her get over the hump there. I mean, you got a Democratic governor there and a Democratic that's now been elected. I'm curious about these suburban areas. I listened to Carl and now Jessica and now Kellyanne. It may be that even in Virginia, and you were talking, Britt, you look at that the issue around LGBTQ plus and how those issues have played in the Virginia school system there. And that Loudoun County number is an interesting number. Yet you see in some of the other suburban areas in Indiana, he has not performed quite as well. So it's interesting to me to see this. And maybe it's not, these states are a little different now than voters are in these suburban areas.
Yeah, Bill, you have Loudoun County up there?
Yeah, that's Fairfax County. That's an ex-urban county.
Yeah. What was 2020?
Yeah, let's look at 2020 versus now.
Okay, so I want to show you guys the Fox insights that we have, and we can go into this county here. You see this green outline? So we can show you what the vote was at this point 4 years ago, okay? Let's go ahead and click on this and find out together, okay? Loudoun County with 96% of the vote reporting in that county. Trump's got a 3.3 jump higher than he was performing 4 years ago. Now we'll clear this off here. How it computes here on the computer with 4 years ago, that's a slip about 4.5 points for Kamala Harris in that county. And Harold, maybe it is the issues in the schools. Maybe it is the transgender issue that the Trump team pushed so much during this campaign. And maybe that's having an impact on that. Let's move away from Virginia. There are a couple of interesting stories I just want to bring our viewers up to date on. Just punching around this map here. You can find a little good news for Kamala Harris. You can find good news for Donald Trump. And I'm going to show you why here. Down in Florida, just looking at Duval County and Jacksonville, okay? This is advantage Trump from where he was 4 years ago in Duval County. You see that? You see that swap? Flipped it by 5 points there. Now I want to go up to Georgia here. And in the rurals, east of Atlanta and to the south, now the Fox Insight here, right? Okay? That's Baldwin County. The county seat in Baldwin County is Milledgeville. It was the Confederate capital of Georgia during the Civil War. Now, our Fox Insights tell us right now, look at this, okay? It has 2 colleges in this county. The African-American population is about 44% countywide. Trump right now, at this moment, with 84% of the vote reported in Baldwin County, he's up 7.5 points from where he was in 2020. You know, the Trump team's going to take that. Likewise, okay, the metro area of Atlanta. Let me pop out here. You got 26 counties to concentrate on. But the Harris folks are telling us in Douglas County is that she's performing better than Biden did 4 years ago. Okay, these are suburban voters all over the Atlanta metro area. So she's a net gain of 18,267 right now. All right, you got about a quarter of the vote still out there. Biden finished in Douglas County with a net gain of 17,360. That would be good news for the Harris campaign if this number holds there in Douglas County. Let me pop out here a moment and show you another thing here that we were looking at.
Wait, can you stay in Georgia for 1 second?
I can.
Just before we leave there,
Yes,
the Fox News voter analysis and the network's exit polls, we're being told, show the former president doubling his percentage of black men in Georgia. He was at 11% in 2020 and now at 25%, according to these 2 surveys today.
So that may sync up with what...
It's starting to match the raw vote.
That may sync up with what we're seeing now in Fulton County. Now, you got almost half the votes still out there, okay? Yep. 52% is the estimated number of votes that are in at the moment, okay? So roughly 48% out there. This is Fulton County. This is Kamala Harris. She's going to win the county, okay? But look at the raw vote total here. It's impressive, 129,000. But look what Joe Biden did in the same county, okay? 242,000. You'd have to go into the precincts to know where the rest of the remaining vote comes from, and maybe we take a look at that in a moment here. But that would be, you're one of 159 in terms of population. So maybe what you're saying, Brett, about the African-American male vote there is true in places like Fulton County, Georgia. Just want to caution you, there's still a lot of vote out there, but we're going to keep a very close eye on Fulton County starting right now into the night here in Georgia.
And Bill, do you have any indication that turnout is a bit lower than 2020? Because that would affect some of what you're doing in these comparisons as well.
I can tell you this, Martha. Before Election Day, Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, set up an awesome website. And I mean, just county by county with the early vote. I was on there every hour of every day just trying to analyze it. One thing that was evident from the early vote, don't know about today just yet, but based on the early vote,